Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Well, hello, and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live here on Business Talk Radio as we live stream on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Our show is all about inspiring hope and inspiration. And I wanted to just mention a little tribute that my show is really named after my father. So it's a tribute to him because he always inspired me. So with me today is my co-host, Heather Dean, who is with us in Jerusalem. It's a pleasure to see you, Heather.
Hi, so glad to be back on the show, and we have a lavender theme happening here. So
I love it. It looks great. Heather is the founder of Heather Dean Productions, and she's also authored this amazing book, Searching for Heather Dean, My Extraordinary Life as a Celebrity Interviewer and Why I Left It. So Heather, it's always great to see you. You're always a great addition to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm excited about today. Woo!
Yes. With us today from Texas is Diann Floyd Boehm. Diann, welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Diann is an author, speaker, an expert storyteller. I can tell you that much. She's going to read to us today. She's amazing. She's also a teacher and a founder of the Story Garden. It is a pleasure to have you with us. You are an international author of children's books, and we're excited to have you share with us your journey about your books, about your life. So welcome again to the program.
Thank you.
So Diann, you've accomplished so much, and you've got this incredible voice, this incredible way with people. When did you realize that you had a real talent for writing?
That's a great question. I never really thought about writing so much because I always just loved telling stories. But to be quite honest, I have 3 grown children now, and one day I thought, those kids are not going to care what I have to say for advice. I almost hate to tell them this. Now they're going to know my secret. Which is, when they have kids, I might want to go, you might want to, and they're going to go, and I'm going to say, oh, I know what, I'll put my stories down. And then when the little one says, I don't want that book, I want grandma's book, then my advice can come through.
It's terrific. I think it's great that Heather is also an author. And so you two share that in common. You both have had that incredible gift of sharing stories. So
I do have a question that you have, but your specialty, Diann, is also with very young people. And I think that all of us whose ages are in the double digits remember our favorite book when our age was in the single digits. I certainly do. So I would love to know, what book do you remember most fondly from your very young years? And did that also spark an interest in writing books for young people?
Absolutely. And again, a lovely question. So my mom and dad read to us when we were little, so I feel grateful for that. But my mom, when she would read Hansel and Gretel and change her voice, that was exciting to me. And so for me, Hansel and Gretel played a major role in that. When I was older, I loved the Bobbsey twins. And of course, you could never go wrong with Nancy Drew.
I love Nancy Drew. She was great. That whole collection that she had.
Right. And I'm actually starting them on the Story Garden because I think Nancy Drew is a great inspiration for girls.
So share with us, if you would, the Story Garden. What is it, and who do you actually have on the Story Garden?
The Story Garden is a place, and the reason I say garden is I really work today. So many young kids have their books online, And I want them to actually hold the book, because there's nothing like holding a book and touching the pictures. And I don't know, I find it very exciting and tactile. And I want parents to think about having kids to start growing a library when they were young, so that the older they get, they'll just keep adding to it, and by an adult, they'll have a huge library. And that's the reason for the name Story Garden. I wanted it also because I've done a lot of traveling, and been blessed to be in different countries in Africa. And the kiddos, just like anywhere else in the world, they love it when somebody reads to them. And I thought, I don't know if I'll ever get to get them back to Ethiopia or Uganda, etc. But maybe if I'm beamed in, because some of the places they can go to, they actually have a center where I can be beamed in, and I can read to them as well as to other kids around the world. And sometimes in our extremely busy lives, we don't have time to read to kiddos. And I want a safe place where parents can feel comfortable that any story that's read by myself or any author, to answer your question, I like to have different children's authors or people from various businesses that can inspire the kiddos and hear in the interview what they're doing, so that they might find themselves saying, "Oh, I want to study ants," or "I want to study the clouds," and they grow from there.
That's really beautiful. That's great. So in your books that you have, Harry the Camel is the latest book. And in your other books, you've collaborated with your daughter, correct?
Yes, my youngest daughter, that's right. And she's actually working on the art and the layout for the newest book.
What I like about the Harry the Camel story is the backstory to that, because you weren't sure, how are you going to write a story from that region of the world? Do you want to share a little bit about the birth of Harry the Camel?
Sure, I'll be happy to. I've lived in Dubai for 14 years with my husband. His work took us there, which allowed us to do a lot of traveling throughout the Middle East. So I hope one day to get to your part. That would be a true joy. But I wanted to give back, and there are a lot of camel stories already in existence there. And I kept thinking, I want to write a camel story, but what could it be that would be different? And when I knew we were going to be moving back for good to the States, I thought I really need to be inspired. And I like to create stories that make kids think, but also allow teachers to incorporate the stories into various parts of their curriculum. And all of a sudden, one night, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I wrote the story. So I hope that helps. So.
And in the book, the main character have to overcome adversity, I should say, right? There's the challenge of overcoming adversity, and that's correlated to the camel. Can you share a little about that?
Sure. The character is Omar, and which is a very popular name in that part of the world. And he gets lost from his parents, but he's able, and just at first he's very scared of Harry the Camel, but they sense each other's body language, and there's a trust that builds. And because of this trust and faith, he's able to survive being lost in the desert. And Harry knows that he needs to get him back to his people. And so it's all about faith and believing.
That's wonderful. And we certainly need that today for sure with what's going on in the world. How about your book, The Little Girl in the Moon? You have some beautiful illustrations in there. Can you show them to us? The one we just talked about?
Oh, sure. That one happens to be The Little Girl in the Moon and the Big Idea. And the adventures of the little girl in the moon, I'll share with you where we're going with it afterwards. But yeah, so I never thought I could paint. And that's another whole story all in itself. these are some of my very, very first paintings that I've ever done in my entire life. I had a teacher tell me I couldn't paint, so I never did. But I finally came over that feeling, because that's my very first picture I ever painted. But in the stories, these were all done on silk instead of canvas, and each one has sort of a different flavor to it. But imagination is very important, and in the story garden, I always close with everything in my taglines: embrace imagination. And so I share with them imagination. And in this particular one, the very first one, there's actually hidden pictures, and I've even turned that one into material. Let's see if I can find that one for you. Here you go. Can you see that? It's great material. And there's like hidden birds and flowers and animals for the kids to talk about.
So it looks like behind you, there's a picture that looks similar to what we saw in the other book.
Right. That's the kaleidoscope one that was in this book here. Yes. And then in Moxie, where I make my own language, because the little girl in the moon lives in Tycho Crater. So remember how I said I try to take things and build curriculum, because I love curriculum in schools. So Tycho Crater is a place that we study. And in the little girl in the moon, the way you discover that character is by the phases of the moon. So you don't see her until all the different phases of the moon appear. And I wrote a whole curriculum around it. So like even that's a phase of the moon. So, and little kids absolutely love that. And when I'm working with 8th grade and high school, I share with them how to take something that they enjoy and turn it into something that you can write about and paint about. And then in this one, Moxie, this is Lala, because in Moonling language, the hotel is hostel to Lala Kitillon. So it's a kitten and doggy hotel. And
Wonderful.
So I use etymology to come up with the words. So these are the creativity of those books.
That's really impressive. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. We need to take a break and hear from some of my friends who are sponsors. But when we come back, would you read for us?
I'd be happy to. Thank you.
Excellent. Stay with us on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. We'll be back with Diann and Heather after a message from my friends.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Make a bold statement by wearing a custom jewelry design from Margie Cedrone, Artisan Jeweler, located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey. Telephone number 215-384-7155. Margie Cedrone is an artisan jeweler who has been a permanent fixture on the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia since 1988. Starting her business in 1982, all of Margie's designs are individually handmade as well as custom design. She is one of the only jewelers left in the area who still crafts the finest tailor-made diamond jewelry, whether it's a statement piece or an everyday item. In addition to her one-of-a-kind designs, she specializes in pearl stringing and bead jewelry repairs. Margie Cedrone Jewelry pairs nearly 30 years of experience with the building of lifelong client relationships. Dr. Jacalyn has been a client and friend of Margie Cedrone for many, many years. Each week during my show, Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio, I will be featuring one of the beautiful pieces of jewelry that Margie custom made for me. I urge you to contact Margie through her website, margiecedronejewelry.com. Wait no longer to make your own bold statement.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I am a certified life coach. With me today is Heather Dean, the founder of Heather Dean Productions. And our special guest is Diann Floyd Boehm. Welcome back, ladies.
Thank you.
Good to see
So
you.
yes, it's great to see you. You're wearing purple today, which I like. Lavender's my favorite color, by the way.
Good to know.
So Diann, would you please honor us with a reading from one of your books?
I'd be happy to. This one's going to be from The Little Girl in the Moon, The Big Idea. Our wishes are being lost on Earth, and the little girl on the moon is very worried about it. So her friends come together, and it takes a while, but they write a song, but I shall read the poem to you. Moonbeams, stars shimmer in the blue moonlight, wishes swirling in space. Glowing moonbeams brighten the night, guiding the wishes to the stars. Moonbeams and stars shining bright, may wishes come true tonight. Wishes rise from cities and farms throughout the whole wide world. Hopeful wishes for joy and peace, healing wishes of love. Moonbeams and stars shining bright, may wishes come true tonight. Stars shimmer in the blue moonlight as wishes come true tonight. There you go.
That was just lovely. Thank you for reading that.
Thank you for having me.
You are an incredible storyteller. So I appreciate all that you're doing to inspire others. And I'm just wondering, how has your work with children and the Story Garden changed with the pandemic?
Interesting. It almost came to a complete halt as far as me being in the classrooms. And that kind of saddens me because I get so much energy from young children. And when I say young children, I shouldn't call high schoolers young children, but when you get to be my age, everybody's young. But I do miss that. But I really am glad people are taking it seriously and they're staying home. So I'm being beamed in to some schools now, and so that's lovely, and that's the beauty of technology. And there's a new company out of New York, actually, called Talkabook, and they're going to be beaming me into schools as well.
So you're still able to communicate with the students and get your message out, which is wonderful.
Yes.
Heather, how are things there with schools?
So the schools are opening very cautiously and carefully. So there are some schools that are back in session, and then there are some schools where the class is divided and then they stagger which days half of the students go and which half are learning remotely. So it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. I do have a question though for Diann about what sort of reader feedback she's getting. If there's a kid that has told you, I just read this book over and over again, or something maybe in their life that changed because of one of your books.
Actually, yes, and just recently, yesterday, from a child in England, a mother wrote me. And they are actually originally from Ethiopia. And she was given the book for a birthday present. And the little girl told her mom she's never giving this book up. And her mother wrote me to say that the little girl carries this book with her everywhere because when one of the phases of the moon, when the little girl in the moon looks like her. And that was one of the reasons I did the phases in the moon also, was because I want children to be able to see themselves in the books. And that just pleased my heart so much.
It's funny when you were reading the song or the lyric to the piece that you did in this book. So I was immediately conjuring up a recent day trip, or night trip, I should say, with my family. We went to a village called Mitzpe Ramon, which was named for a famous Israeli astronaut, Ilan Ramon, who tragically died on a space mission that was with the U.S. and he represented Israel. So we went when it was actually a new moon, which means it was just a teeny hint of moon. And in Mitzpeh Ramon, it's the town is built around this crater. So we went to this crater at night and gazed up at the stars, which when there's practically no moon in the sky, all you see is stars. And that's exactly what I was thinking as you were reading the lyric from your book. So I'm wondering, from your perspective, do you also conjure up visuals and sort of just, maybe some sort of trance, or how are you able to write with using these very poetic words? How does the inspiration come to you?
I always have to give credit to the angels, because I believe that they have work to do, and they use us for instruments to get the word out, to help build peace and love. And we just have to be open to those words. And I truly believe that. I know some people don't, but I truly do. That, as you can tell, I get shaky, because that was a very powerful moment when all those words came to me. And it took about 3 days to get it completely tight. But I knew, in thinking about it, when I came up with the whole story, I knew I wanted to bring song, because there's a beautiful phrase in Deer Park High School in the olden days when they built a school. Each building had a cornerstone on it, and the music building says, through music, mankind can find understanding. And I always found that so powerful. And so I wanted to bring out, because I sing, and so I love telling stories through song. And I wanted to bring that out through The Little Girl in the Moon. So then I had to find the phrases. And then I needed to think about how there's people in all parts of the world. And I wanted them to see them in the book, whether they were on the farms or out in open spaces like in Kenya. If they are in a city, I just wanted them to see themselves. And so that whole thought process and prayer is what gave me the book. That was a long-winded story, but that's how it happened.
No, we love hearing your stories, and I know you have so many more to tell us. So I'm hoping that you'll come back and see us again. So, Diann, you've got an incredible website that is really robust, and your books are available there, and also information about the Story Garden. So your website is here, DiannFloydBoehm.com, and also your books can be purchased on Amazon. What's next for you?
Well, my youngest daughter, Catherine, who now is my illustrator for the Little Girl in the Moon series, it's now going to become The Adventures of the Moonlings. And you are going to be able to see and learn about so many places in the world through the adventures. And that hopefully will be out the first of the year. And I'm also working on a historical fiction for junior high and high school based on my grandmother's life, because she was such an inspiration, and I believe she will, through this book, inspire others to find and be who they are meant to be.
Well, good luck with you and everything that you're doing. I know you and I will stay in touch. It's been a real pleasure having you on. Heather, you and I are back together in a couple of days on the 2nd. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you again to all of our sponsors, all of our listeners and our viewers here live on Business Talk Radio, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. It's been a pleasure having Diann and Heather with us today, and have a safe and productive day. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Make a
a bold statement by wearing a custom jewelry design from Margie Cedrone, Artisan Jeweler, located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey. Telephone number 215-384-7155. Margie Cedrone is an artisan jeweler who has been a permanent fixture on the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia since 1988. Starting her business in 1982, all of Margie's designs are individually handmade as well as custom design. She is one of the only jewelers left in the area who still crafts the finest tailor-made diamond jewelry, whether it's a statement piece or an everyday item. In addition to her one-of-a-kind designs, she specializes in pearl stringing and bead jewelry repairs. Margie Cedrone Jewelry pairs nearly 30 years of experience with the building of lifelong client relationships. Dr. Jacalyn has been a client and friend of Margie Cedrone for many, many years. Each week during my show, Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio, I will be featuring one of the beautiful pieces of jewelry that Margie custom made for me. I urge you to contact Margie through her website, margiecedronejewelry.com. Wait no longer to make your own bold statement.